we OG, we OG. Oh no, G. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock, ayy. Runes is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal Revolution, ayy. Ordinal Revolution. Yo, is my guy for real, bro? Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, like it in the steel. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nookies on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me. Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it start? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the Ordinal Hour, and this one is not going to be so great. No, I'm just kidding. This one's going to be amazing, guys. Bitcoin not doing so good, though, sitting at 100,474. I mean, guys, we ran up 50% in the last month. Right, we were at 50K, and I want to say October, and today we're sitting at 100. So yeah, we're not at 108, we're not at 110, but we're in a bull run. This stuff's going to happen, and I feel like we have experienced our first bear trap, our first real bear trap. We saw a lot of bull traps going into 2022, where we're going to break out, and then just nothing, right? And I think we're going to get that same, but just with the bear traps now. It's like, oh, we're going back down, but nothing. We're going to head back up. We're going to be at 120. I still believe that. I still think that we're going to be potentially, up above 120, maybe closer to 140 by the end of this month. I mean, we're running out of time here. I get it. But I don't know. I just feel the strong momentum that's coming back in. And I feel like, this is the chance for the rich guys to come in and buy the dip. The smart money does not buy rips, they buy dips, and this could be the area where they're scooping up Bitcoin left and right. Yesterday we saw a huge dip in Bitcoin, but the ETF inflows were both positive for ETH and Bitcoin, which is weird. It just shows you that the ETFs aren't selling, guys. These are guys being advised by BlackRock. These are they're coming in buying the BlackRock ETF. BlackRock is still buying for their clients and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot to be bullish about. We're going to get into that. We're going to have Arch Thursdays. We're going to have Matt on and Hex from Saturn on. So that's going to be fun. And we're going to get into some OpCat stuff. I'm starting to think that OpCat is not going to go through. We might not see an upgrade on Bitcoin until it's something that has to do with quantum computing. So we're going to get into that as well. But we got a big show for you guys today. Can't wait to get this started. So without further ado, we bring in my partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? You surviving this the bear market of December?
Yeah, this is that was definitely weird what happened yesterday. Didn't expect that at all, right? It broke trend in terms of this time period. You can say December 10th through like the 20th range. We've never had a gigantic red daily candle like that, so that was definitely unique. And I watched the FOMC meeting, and I didn't feel like it was as hawkish as I guess like the rest of the market did. But I think it was also a great opportunity probably for some of these market makers and to liquidate people, but also TradFi probably taking an amazing short at the top of the day yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's kind of what happened too, right? It was great as Jerome started speaking yesterday. It was just down only. Like they didn't even wait for him to like say a word. It was just like obviously we got our he dropped it 0.25. So the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates by 25 basis points, puts us around between 4 and 4.25, which is still a lot. You gotta remember we were a point higher. Just like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, right? So now we're sitting at 0.25, and that's bank to bank. So if you want to get a loan to buy a house or a car, the cheapest you can get right now is probably like between 5 and 6, right? But that it's a lot lower than it was. My sister does real estate here in Pennsylvania, and she was telling me her cheapest she gets somebody with amazing credit was 7. Right. And that was, just a few months ago. So the fact that the rates are being cut is the big deal. But, but what happened was what he said afterwards. Right. So Jerome Powell says we have avoided a recession and expect another very good year. Right. And then he says, Jerome Powell says the Fed is not allowed to own Bitcoin. So let's get into that. Right. So I don't know why this dropped Bitcoin's price right away, but because obviously we have to pass a law for that to happen. Right. It's not like we can just add Bitcoin to the reserve. We all know this. Why did this drop the price? Are people just idiots? Right? like as soon as he said that, though, the price was like, no.
Yeah, it was almost look, these journalists are experienced. They should be at least. And if he didn't know that fact, then we need some better people in those positions. I think we kind of known this in anyways. But it was a setup question, in my opinion. Right. Like it was kind of knowing the fact that like the Federal Reserve, the Fed is not going to have any type of asset that it could be considered, volatile at different times. Just not. And plus Bitcoin is so new, like that is obviously not in their allow list of assets to hold. Right. And I don't believe gold is either. So it was definitely an emotional part of it, but it was Bitcoin was already kind of bleeding out a bit before that happened, because I was watching the entire thing. I was just like, shut up, end it, shut up, end it. Like the longer he was talking, it was just getting worse and worse, right? But seems like Jerome Powell is the Grinch, and he decided he wanted to cancel the Santa rally.
Yeah. So, are we in a Grinch rally? Are we in a Grinch rally?
Dude, maybe. Now, I do think so. I know you've been watching Tyler S a bit, right? And I did check him out, and I was curious of what his reaction video was, right? Because I think he was thinking that Bitcoin would be a bit bullish because of the feud between BlackRock and Michael Saylor. But his response was, look, the FOMC meeting wasn't great, but at the same time, no one's going to think about what happened in about 4 or 5 days. So he's like, it's going to take about 2 to 4 or 5 days, and then we're going to be right back on track. But we'll see. We'll see if that happens, because we've been going below 100K a couple times so far.
Yeah, 100% here. Powell did have some other topics. I want to jump on them real quick. He said, so Powell said, we're at the point where it makes sense to slow the pace of rate cuts. This is another reason why we dropped. Sitting at, between, I think we're at like 4.25. Do you see them cutting, like stopping, pausing rate cuts at all?
So that was really the biggest, I think, in the back to the stock market and Bitcoin was I think they changed their projection to cutting 100 basis points to 50, right? So if you're looking at 100 basis points, that's 4 more consecutive cuts of 0.25 versus now we might be looking at just January, February, and then done. So I think that's what scared a lot of people. And then and the first time ever, I think like bonds in the stock market, you were losing at the same time, right? And that hasn't happened in the past 40 years, except for 1 year in 1994. And so the traditional markets really were the ones that freaked out the most yesterday and was the bloodiest, but Bitcoin was definitely bloody. I mean, we went from hanging around 106, 105 to 99, high 99s, which is where we are now.
Yeah. We just jumped in the high 99s right now, as you said that. But to your point here, over $1.5 trillion. You got to remember, Bitcoin's a $2 trillion asset, and $1.5 trillion was wiped out from the U.S. stock market. It was yesterday. What do you think about this? is this concerning? If let's just say the S&P, the Dow, they all just want to go down, right? Is that concerning for Bitcoin as well?
So I think it is short term because sentiment is contagious, right? Especially like assets or S&P's an asset, right? So it's like stuff that the Bitcoin asset follows a bit. But again, Bitcoin and crypto are kind of on their own trajectory because this is their moment, right? The 4-year cycle. Traditional stocks don't have that, right? So I think it would be more of a temporary short-term sentiment that gets turned around.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. I think the same. I think that if S&P and the Dow want to drop, Bitcoin has to come down with it a little bit. But all that is to me is a buying opportunity in the bull market. You're going to see these opportunities happen, and I said it in the intro there. But smart money does not buy rips; they buy dips, and this is where they're going to be buying heavily, in my opinion. But we'll see. Michael Saylor says he's willing to advise U.S. President-elect Trump on crypto. Would you want Saylor to be advising these the president and the rest of the cabinet?
Probably not, just because he's going to be so Bitcoin only focused, and yes, like Bitcoin is the the mother chain, the ultimate asset in this entire industry and asset class. But I think that you need someone that has a little bit more open mind, right? And that's just my perspective, right? Because that's going to benefit the Bitcoin ecosystem as well. I think Saylor probably eventually comes around more to the Bitcoin ecosystem. I think he kind of created his own meta protocol, right?
Yeah.
Like I think it was like 5 months ago. So he understands this new way of like building on Bitcoin. But I just don't know if we need someone that's just so Bitcoin centric as like an advisor to the administration, right? But I mean, either way, I think it still would be okay. Because he has different people in different positions for crypto and AI.
Yeah, and he's not a self-custody DeFi guy at all, right? He's not for decentralization. He doesn't give a shit about it. He's mainly for the sense of Coinbase custodian on all of his crypto, right? So I don't like that about him. I don't like that he's not really for being a sovereign individual, holding your own Bitcoin. He says it's stupid. You need tinfoil hat and stuff like that, which really bothers me when I first heard that with Saylor, and he did that in an interview, and it kind of shocked me a little bit. But he's not in Bitcoin for the reasons that we're in Bitcoin. He's in Bitcoin because he wants to make money, right? And that was pretty clear. Bitcoin is the fastest horse in a race, and he sees that, and it's going to be the number one asset in the world in the next 20, 30 years. And that's the reason why he's in Bitcoin. He's not in Bitcoin for decentralization. He's not in Bitcoin for the freedom aspect. He's not in Bitcoin for the, bank the unbanked, right? He's in it just as an asset he holds, and it goes up in value.
Yep.
All right. Let's kind of get the next thing here. Publicly traded Hut Mining 8 buys 990 Bitcoin for 100 million, boosting total stash to $1 billion. And then Mara came right in, and Mara has acquired 15,574. Some Michael Saylor shit right there for 1.53 billion at average price of 98,529. Mara raised 1.925 billion. So Mara still has someone on the sideline there from a 0% convertible notes in November and December, using the proceeds from its zero coupon convertible notes offerings. I hate this. I hate Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy. It's fine. All right. I hate that these miners are taking out debt, selling their own stock. Right. Technically, they're putting their stock up as collateral to buy Bitcoin. I hate this because it only takes BlackRock so much money to dump the price of Bitcoin, liquidating Mara, liquidating public Hut Mining, and then BlackRock can come in and scoop up the miners cheap, very cheap, to the comparison of their valuations today. If BlackRock gets 51% of the hash power, if they buy up Mara, they buy up Riot, they buy up Hut 8, and they don't even need 100% of these companies. They can own 30, 40% to have a huge say in what these mining companies do. BlackRock then controls Bitcoin. They control everything. They control the code. They control every single thing, because whoever has 51% of the power can control Bitcoin. And I don't want that to ever happen.
Yeah, but I would say your headline before this was another mining company, right? So if there's maybe like 10 separate mining companies, but then that's problem too, because it's publicly traded, then
Yeah.
It actually makes it easier, probably, right? Because now,
Yeah.
like some of these littler, companies that are publicly traded, not as big as Mara and stuff like that, that they can really get in and buy a ton of their stock, right? So
Yeah.
the control and the strategies is kind of there, and yeah, I agree with you. That is a little worrisome. Again, though, I think that this current administration putting the right people in the right places can prevent something like that from happening, and I think that needs to happen.
Yeah, but let's just say BlackRock is 25% of Mara, 25% of Hive, 25% of Sato, 25% of what's this Hut 8, right? They now have say in every decision these companies make, and these companies control their miners. So now, they don't need to own 100% of these mining companies to have say in 51% of the power, right? Which is good and bad, right? They want to protect Bitcoin because it's an asset that they hold. So they're going to want to, make sure that all the updates get put through, when it comes to quantum computing and stuff like that. So that's all good. But like in the sense of they can potentially make a change that benefits them.
Yeah.
They can push for that. And that's scary. And I don't think people understand that. And the fact that they can basically send Bitcoin's price down, liquidate a lot of these, the guys are taking off massive debt. I mean, $1.5 billion in debt is absolutely insane. Insanity. Michael Saylor is a crazy man, but I don't want the Bitcoin miners doing this. I do not want this at all. Am I wrong for that?
No, I think your concern is warranted. I just don't know what we can do about it until this new administration comes in and puts the people that he has in mind in the places, right, to
Yeah.
be overseeing this, because I definitely think that that's something that needs to be a recurring conversation until a solution
Yeah.
is made, and a solution should be made in a short amount of time, because that is something to definitely worry about, because we see it in our regular commerce industry right now, the food and the
Yeah.
FDA or the FTC and stuff like that in our food, like everything's getting pushed one way to make sales go up, and it works with the pharmaceutical companies. I know that, so going down the conspiracy rabbit hole, but it is what it is. We're one of the most unhealthy countries in the world, and so it's easy to kind of do that through
Yeah.
the publicly traded companies, through the stock market, right? You control them and
Yeah.
basically tell them what to do, and like you said, you can also, if a company is not doing so well, or there's a couple of things, maybe we've seen big fund managers destroy companies or attempt to do that. They tried to do it with GameStop, and the public actually stepped up and kind of prevented that. You know what I mean? By buying their stock. So yeah, it could be a scary situation. But I just think that the current administration just needs to have that on their radar constantly.
There's nothing they can do. What can they do? When something's
Well,
publicly traded, you can't stop a company from coming in and buying it. Yeah, you can stop private sales. We've seen that hundreds of millions of times. You cannot stop BlackRock from coming in and buying it off the market.
So if you're trying to do it to protect Bitcoin, I think that you can. Like, obviously, I mean, we've seen our bureaucratic entities do whatever the hell they want, right? But if you're trying to do something for the greater good, I think that the
Yeah.
public would definitely give more support to that versus, lining your own pockets, right? And so I think that's where it would come to, would be like preventing a huge monopoly that could destroy tons, millions of people's lives, right? And so I think
Yeah.
that would be the focus, would be like, hey, we got to protect this. And it not only, and if they have a Bitcoin reserve, it's not only a public security issue, it's a national security issue at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. If they get too leveraged out, you're saying,
Yeah.
basically, right? Yeah. Well, I think this is going to be the catalyst for the bear market of 2027. The late 2026, early 26, 27. I think the liquidation of these miners is going to be huge. And then you're going to see BlackRock come in as this great source and just bailing them out. But what
Yeah.
that's going to do, that's going to give them the power. And everyone's like,
Yep.
oh, they did so great. They bowed at the miners. And what in reality, they just, this was all planned. And I kind of see through this, dude. BlackRock will own 51% of the hash power, I think, by the next cycle. I truly believe that.
Hope not. But Mike Bennett says anti-monopoly laws exist. Yeah, they do, but there's ways to get around them, and we've seen it with anything from producing grain to fuel. It's there's ways to get around them, and BlackRock wrote the blueprint probably to that.
Yeah, 100%. Moving along here, $1.5 trillion what's it, Deutsche Bank?
Deutsche Bank.
Deutsche Bank builds L2 blockchain on Ethereum. So this is the reason why I'm bearish on stuff like XRP, XLM, and all these blockchains, the whole ISO 222 and shit like that, is because why would they use something like that when they're all open source, right? They can just fork their code, put Ethereum, their version of it, or whatever on XRP or their version of a stablecoin on an Ethereum L2, have everything, kind of live on their own blockchain. Like there's no reason for any of these coins anymore when, JP Morgan's going to have their own blockchain, Deutsche Bank's going to have their own blockchain. All these banks will have their own blockchain and they'll all be some type of L2s.
So I think before November 5th, if it went the other direction, I think that there was this idea of like, the good old boys club, right? With the ISO 222 chains. You had Cardano in there, XRP, XLM, all these that had kind of committed years and years ago, right? But that was the good old boys club for the banking system, central banks, and the IMF. Now, I think you're right. You're going to see more of this stuff to where these publicly traded companies and banking companies are like, oh, that plan doesn't seem like it's going, to course, right? Now it seems like we actually could benefit more from this on an individual basis. And I think you're right in this aspect. We'll probably see more of this, people creating their own, because the tech stack's easy, right? Like you can just, fork it and do your own thing, and you have the capital power. That's not a problem. What a lot of problem with some of these new chains is like, okay, getting up and getting started and having that TVL. Dude, a lot of these, like, they already have TVL. You know what I mean? So they can put TVL on there. They just have to up the security and make sure that there's no breaches or exploits.
Yeah, and I think these banks and stuff, they're going to work really slowly. That's what banks do. So they started these chains, but they probably won't be usable until like the next cycle. The next cycle will be the banking chains. It'll be the JP Morgans, and that's when a lot of these chains will be like, all the assets will probably be digital by that point anyway. Stock exchanges will probably run in a crypto form at that time on these types of chains. You could see NASDAQ on a chain one day, trading 24 hours a day in crypto form. And I think that's kind of where we're going. And it's only a matter of time, but it's not going to be on Ethereum. It's not going to be on, Avalanche, but it might be an L2 or L3 or an L4, on maybe someone creates something on top of Solana as well. So I just feel like, these L2s are really going to be exciting in the future. And that's kind of why I'm bullish on these Bitcoin L2s as well.
Yeah. I think it's also, real quick before we move on to the next thing, we're going to see something a little similar to the media companies, the ones that didn't jump on the digital boom, that faded off and they lost their business because their revenue went down completely. And so, but with banks, it's a little different. They're all kind of like this big family, but at the same time, some of the banking sector like just won't buy into it. They're completely against it. And I think they're one by one, little sections are going to start breaking off like this and saying, hey, I want to create our own destiny of future. And so some will go away forever. I think there's going to be some banks that you won't see anymore. But then the ones that do, get in early and establish their foundation, they're going to be big winners.
100%. And there's going to be some crypto companies that end up in the TradFi sector, with merging with the, why create your own chain when you can just merge with Sui, right?
It's going to be the Amazons, the Googles, and stuff like that. This industry boom.
100%. Despite all the selling yesterday, the ETH ETFs still saw 2.5 million of net inflows, while Bitcoin's ETF experienced a significant $275 million in net inflows. So I spoke on this a little bit in the intro, but as bad as it was yesterday, we still saw the ETFs inflows. It's 14 days in a row now of Bitcoin inflows. So what's going on? Do you just think BlackRock is advising their clients to buy? Good, or what do you like? Why is there an inflow there, but such outflows in the on-chain economy?
Yeah, so I think that different regions of the world panicked or went along with kind of like this market makers mission, right? Let's take advantage of FOMC one more time before Bitcoin has this amazing thrust up. I don't know what the thought process was, but obviously it was retail that sold off, some whales sold off, right? But and also if you think about it, like they don't mind selling off if they got in at 20,000, 30,000, even if at 106, 104, 102, 99, shoot, you know what I mean? If you got in at 20, 25, so then, you know, they're just trying to see how far it's going to go down now. And I think that, you know, some of them are going to miss the boat back up, and then some of them might play the alt game, you know, and they might wait. So I think that's the thought process. That's the group of people that sold off. Obviously, it wasn't the ETF people. We know that they're just in a buy kind of mentality, along with Saylor.
Yep. It's funny you got into that, because that was kind of my next question. A lot of people took profit coming from, let's just say, 16,000. Maybe, you know, a lot of that, like a lot of these big whales were selling off yesterday. They're sitting on a lot of USDT, a lot of USDC right now. Does that go back into Bitcoin, or does that spill over to some of the alts?
So they were selling into stable. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they were selling in stable.
So
the USD dominance like shot up like 30%.
I think it's just allows them to kind of, you know, reset a little bit, right? So it depends on how big this window is going to be. Like how long, you know, are we going to go down one more leg, get into like the mid 90s? Obviously, you know, that's where they're looking for the opportunity again. But if they miss that, then obviously they're going to be looking to get into maybe some alts, and then, you know, it just depends on how much risk averse they want to be, how much percentage of the stable they're gonna go, because there is going to be probably one more pullback, I think, right? I do think this is going to be temporary, and then you know, we go back up to finish the year, but then in January, I think, you know, there's going to be a pullback like there is every 4 years.
Yeah. Yep. Bitcoin forms the golden entry, a signal for the next big bull run. So I have a chart here. Take a look at this. So this is from 2020. You saw it looks very similar to where we're at today. You see, you know, green, 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 and then red, red. But if you zoom out, right, this potentially only looks like this. And then, you know, right after this, we saw 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of just upward momentum before it dipped. This will lead us into February if this follows this. Do you think we get something like that? That would kind of lead us maybe to 245, 240 by potentially February if we have upward momentum like we had back in 2020.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think that it's going to rhyme, right? I do think that we do finish the year up. I don't know if it's going to be that aggressive. But if you see, like, previous to that, the consolidation period was wild in 2024 compared to before. But I do expect for us to, you know, it's going to take 2 to 4 or 5 days for us to get back on track, and we do follow something similar to that. So,
well, the consolidation is very similar to here, right? I mean, it just kind of switched.
Instead
of having consolidation here, they had it back here, and then, but you know, we all know that this is because of the ETF, right? So this might have been sideways, and then we might have just been we might have been very similar to this if we didn't get the ETF, all right? So I think that's we kind of traded that for that, and then we just kind of stayed the same thing trajectory. But still, dude, 4 weeks in a row, I think that would be the path of most pain. There's a lot of people who have exited right now. This could be the biggest bear trap we've seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, I don't think the bull run's over or anything like that.
Yeah,
like, you see people say that on the timeline. I think that's crazy. Now, if there was like a
That's
huge world event or something like a World War III, then maybe. But, you know, I don't see that happening.
I agree. Last thing here before we get into fear and greed, El Salvador says it will continue buying Bitcoin, possibly at an accelerated pace for strategic reserves. So right now, they're purchasing 1 Bitcoin every single day. They took in $1.5 billion from the IMF. And there is some rules with that, but the rules are not that they cannot continue to add Bitcoin to their strategic reserve. What do you think about this? I was a little worried that they might stop after taking the IMF money, but it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect them to stop. You know, they wouldn't have taken the money if the stipulation was they couldn't use it for Bitcoin. And this is a Michael Saylor strategy, right? Just get some capital wherever you can, some liquidity. Let's keep adding to the balance sheet. Hey, it's worked out, you know, very well for El Salvador so far, and I think it's going to continually work out for them. Bukele's been doing great things over there, so it's exciting to see where, you know, El Salvador is going to be in 5 to 10 years. I think that the country is going to be a hot commodity in terms of expats and people moving there and doing business there.
100%. All right, let's get into that fear and greed. Yesterday, okay, so last week we were at 83. Yesterday we were at 81. My hint for you, we're still greed, but we're no longer in extreme greed. Where are we?
So 81 was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say we're at like 74.
Damn, dude, pretty damn close. 75. Yeah, so we're right there. We're still in greed. I do think we're going to head back to extreme greed. I think this is a little cool off period. I would be a little worried if we did get into the yellow, because that doesn't happen in bull markets, right? We stay between 75 and 99 the entire time.
Yeah, unless we, dip further. If we get down to like 95,000, then I think we
Yeah.
see a decrease, but I don't see that happening. But who knows? I didn't see yesterday happening for sure.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's get into the Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by BitPerp. BitPerp is going to be one of the leading leverage trading platforms in the entire Bitcoin ecosystem. They're going to allow you to trade your runes, your BRC20s, and much, much more, all with leverage using their platform. That'll be on Botonics, it'll be on Hemi, it'll be on so many different cool L2s. But their paper trading contest will be on Botonics, right? And that's going to be coming. I mean, we could be hours away or days away. We're really excited for that to start. And when it does start, you'll have an opportunity to paper trade your way to some earnings, right? So all you have to do is trade in your time for a little bit of maybe potentially BTP, which is going to be their token potentially, or maybe, some other prizes, right? Maybe some USDT. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. So definitely check out bitperp.io for more and follow them on Twitter as well.
Yep. And before we get into the Bitcoin price action, if you wouldn't mind, on the YouTube side, smash that like for us and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, hit that like for us as well and share this space. We tried something different today because X didn't show our actual live stream, only gave us a link yesterday. So we're live streaming from all three accounts, the Ordinal Revolution, Shizzy, and mine. So if you guys are like, wow, I'm on a different channel, that was intentional, but we appreciate if you guys share the space for us. We got 220 people in here listening live, so we appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's get into some Bitcoin price action here. I'm going to start off with TradingView because for some reason the hour chart on BitPerp is not displaying correctly, but we'll get into the 8-hour chart over there. So on the hour chart, you can see this is right whenever like everything started to go south yesterday. Oh, not yesterday, sorry. This was when things started going south yesterday. I think it was around here. We were hanging around 105 to 10, trying to get back to 106. And there was a downtrend coming from the all-time high from the previous day before anyways, but no one expected for what happened yesterday to happen. Yeah. FOMC starts right around here, and actually, so the actual rate cut was kind of in here, and then when he started talking, it just went down. I was like, God, stop talking. People don't like what you're saying. But anyways, we went from, what is this, high 104s, almost 105 to freaking all the way down to $100,080. So that was a huge back-to-back red candles, right? We did see some consolidation a little bit happen here, dipped even further though, and then saw some rebound throughout the night and early this morning, only to follow back up with more downside. So Bitcoin's kind of still not getting that negative sentiment out yet. Some people are saying it's going to take 2, 4, 5 days. I'll probably agree with that because we're heading into the weekend. I would imagine, over the weekend heading into Christmas week, people are going to forget, what happened the previous week with FOMC. Anyways, taking a look at these indicators, looking at the MACD, it looks like the MACD buy pressure is closing up on the hour chart. So second half of today could be further down, look, I do think we're oversold in one day, right? But we were overbought, pretty significantly, going from, not crossing 100,000 to crossing over 100,000 to 108, right? So it definitely was a bit overbought before, but in 1.5 days, I definitely think we're in oversold territory. So one of the good things I'm seeing is that we are remaining above 100,000. Even when we dip below it, it seems to want to go back. So, we did get high enough above 100,000 to where we could have a good cushion, but now, we're kind of just barely staying over that $100,000 mark. We'll see if we can stay above it and get back on track. For the second half of today, I honestly see chop back and forth, maybe with further down. I wouldn't be surprised if we go further down in terms of the total price getting to maybe 98,000. But I also wouldn't be shocked if we bounced back. If I had to pick one side or the other, I'd probably say maybe further down to low 99,000s. We'd see maybe a high 98,000. But again, this is just kind of residual effect from yesterday. I think it's going to be temporary, and we'll see getting back on track soon. But second half of today, probably a little bit further down. But don't listen to me. I'm wrong a lot. But that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm seeing on the hour chart. In terms of the 8-hour, the 8-hour chart was looking great up until yesterday. We were looking very strong, right? And then all of a sudden, yesterday happened. The MACD, blue line on the MACD, which is the first line that gives you an indication that, hey, we are changing directions. And that's what happened. You can see it's pointing down there. And we are losing power on the buy pressure here on the MACD. Also, the stochastics is showing the same thing. So, this could be easily turned around over the weekend, but I think we're going to probably make it to about halfway through it before that happens. If it doesn't happen, then we just might be, in sell down mode until Christmas. It's just very, very odd, the trend break from 4 years ago. You see this big red candle here. I would definitely be careful, be cautious with any type of leverage. I didn't expect yesterday. And so, we don't know what's going to happen. But a lot of us and people that do this, professionally day to day, they're thinking this is just going to be a 2 to 5 day kind of get over it type of situation. So that's what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. One other thing I want to show is the daily, to show you guys why I was just like so in awe that happened. I mean, this is just so huge, such a gigantic red candle here. And if we go to the previous, 4 years ago, which is way down here, I'm going to show you guys two different time segments. So this is October. All right, so this is what I'm looking at here, right here. So this is kind of the time, right here, sorry. This is kind of the time period that we're in right now, right? So you can see like December 12th to the 18th, it was just like really strong Santa rally here. And then one more I want to show is the 2016 part as well. And so these two data sets is what made me think we were going to be celebrating, another strong Santa rally. And as you can see here, this is that same time period right here. You can see right here, it started a little bit later, but like December 13th through the 23rd, it was the Santa rally there. And so you didn't see any significant huge red candles until January. You see right there, January 4th, right over here. And then the 2021, it was like January 9th. And so it was just, it was definitely a break of trend. And so that's what threw me off personally. And but hey, look, this year has been off trend in the beginning and then at the end so far. In the middle, it caught up to get back on trend, but it's gonna be interesting to see what January looks like.
Yeah, January is gonna be very interesting to say the least. But I just want to show something real quick. So everything that did happen yesterday, we're still in this upward momentum right now, right? Like we're still here. So it would only scare me if we kind of broke this, if we broke out of this trend and kind of fell down here. And if you zoom out, dude, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing of what we've seen. We've seen upward momentum sideways, right? So I'm kind of like, okay here, even if we do just kind of maybe just slowly go up here, we still can hit, like, let's just say we're in there and we just kind of bounce around in here, right? And then eventually break out. I mean, that could lead us into, towards the end of January before a breakout. And I would be okay with that.
Yeah, but that would definitely break trend again, because if towards the end of January, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Like if we went just sideways in there until Trump gets in office and everything, just kind of danced around in here for a little while, it's still upward momentum. This is an upward trend, right? So that's and we could end up just dancing in there and then eventually breaking out, maybe with a few fake outs, Well, we'll see. Only time We'll tell. But let's get into today's roll call here. Yesterday, I put a bounty on Webdro, and he came at me. He came at me hard. He said, I'm here, and I ain't going anywhere. Again, number one all week. All week, man. Shout out to Webdro. You win today. Okay.
I was going to tell you, I got a message from Arch, and they're doing 1,000 pups giveaway for, I guess, we can do maybe 3 people, 5 people. What do you think?
That's fine.
It's up to us. So maybe we do 3 people, 1,000. And what do you want them to put in the chat? Arch Network.
I don't want to do. The wheel's always so hard. You want to have them go to Ordinal?
Yeah. Well, okay. So won't you do this? Put in the chat, guys. I'll track it. Put in the chat Arch Thursdays, and then you'll qualify for the win spill. I'll do the tracking and the wheel. Okay. But yeah, I'll start doing it now. So put in the chat if you're listening in Arch Thursdays. That's all you got. All you got to put. Well, also put your Twitter tag as well. Sorry, put that in there as well. I'm tracking it all. So if you want to be in this giveaway, we're doing 1,000 pups rune giveaway for 3 people. There's gonna be 3 winners. All right,
yep.
Continue on.
So, but we need your Twitter. If you do not put a Twitter, you cannot be qualified. So that's the biggest problem you guys would do. I can't find you. I can't like send you a message on YouTube. So you would need put Arch Thursdays and Twitter handle. If you don't put those 2 things, you will not be eligible for this wheel spin. So Twitter handle, Arch Thursdays. That's how you qualify for the 1,000 pups. And I think it's 333 each. 3 people.
Exactly.
All right. So Webdro, I sent you a message. I'm going to be sending you $100 in Gizmo, and if it's okay with you, Yagobi, we give him Satoshi Silencer. What do you think? He's not a member. I think we should. He's been number 1 for like 7 days in a row. So you'll be the first person added to the whitelist of the Satoshi Silencer. Maybe we might do more giveaways like that as well for the non-members. For the members, you're all qualified. You'll all get a Satoshi Silencer free mint. But we're gonna give it away to some people who are not, because some people not have the money. So with Webdro, I'm gonna send you $100 in Gizmo, and you're gonna be the first person added to the Satoshi Silencer whitelist spot. It will be on mScribe. So look out for that. You'll only have to pay the Bitcoin network fee. That's it. Level Up Tech is here. Shout out to Level Up Tech. You are number 2. He said close, but no cigar. Yeah, shout out to Level Up Tech, man. Thank you so much, buddy. Chief Axel in that 3rd spot. Chief Axel always with a cat and an orange block. Shout out to Chief Axel. Webdro says, thanks for having my back on the prize, Yagobi. Yagobi
no problem,
back, bro.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, this guy's been grinding and getting first place. So congrats to you, man.
Webdro says, great idea, Shizzy. Roll call row. Shout out to Webdro, man. I love you, Webdro. You're my guy. Then we got another one of my guys, man. PJNC Peanut Butter Jelly Time. He says, good to see you guys on the Block Runner. Yes. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check his Block Runners channel. We did a full episode with them. That was fun, dude, right?
It was. Definitely fun diving in deep with those guys into the Bitcoin ecosystem. And there were some topics that needed to be discussed, I think, in terms of how the space acts and stuff like that. So it was a blast.
That was fun. Yasher's here. Our first ever mod. Shout out to Yasher. He's a dead on arrival. That is creepy. Yeah, it's very creepy. We're getting to that probably later today. Maybe we'll do that after Arch. We'll see. Fixed is here. Shout out to Gary D. Gary's here. I think you're 2 days in a row. He says, GM boys, Grinch rally? Actually, something we were talking about this morning, which is funny. Yeah, I don't know. I hope not. Lackey Lukey is here with his Billy Cat. Shout out to Lackey Lukey. And then my guy out there driving the Ubers in the LA Knights. Shout out to Nighthawk UXL, the legend himself. Always here. Appreciate you, my friend. GM. Power is here. Shout out to Power with a dot making the roll call. Appreciate you, my friend. Mempool Punk is here with his wave. Shout out to Mempool Punk. And then the Brothers of Destruction, Ordinals Chips, and Ordinals Tweets. They say, Shizzy and my sweet cat. No idea what you say any day of the week, but I love you anyway. Tim Baker's here. Winner, chicken dinner, Webdro. Yeah, shout out to Tim Baker. Yo-Yo Street, let's go. Yo-Yo messaged me on X and said, why did I unfollow him? Guys, I don't unfollow people. That's just Twitter, for some reason, just unfollows people. I will follow you back. That wasn't intentional. I didn't do it on purpose at all. So
happens to me all the time too.
Miriam is here. Shout out to Miriam. She's a new member. Thank you
you.
so much, Miriam. Welcome to our members program. You will be getting a free Satoshi silencer. They're going to be going for like $40 on the market. So you basically saved yourself $30 on that. Shout out to Miriam joining the Ordinal Revolution members club. And Miriam, there's a bunch of videos for you to watch too. There's a road to 100K. I mean, Yagobi started in June. You catch up on that, but I appreciate you joining. Zappy is here. Shout out to Zappy. Chain Watchers in the building. Inagi is here. Mike Bennett says Fractal is going to rise from the dead like a phoenix. Yeah, I've actually been playing on Sats Pump Fun. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I got into a couple more coins this morning. I got into something called Bark. Because I don't know, Francis posted it, so this is cool. I was like, all right, I'll throw like $100 at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been just
I mean,
around.
shout out to Francis, right? Like that's not an easy tech stack to build on. Obviously there's a centralized component of it with dot swap, but you know, now it seems like the next chain to expand Stats Pump Fun is Bell's chain. So that would be big, I think, for him and Bell's.
100%. Mike Bennett is here again. Yo-Yo Street again. He says, the good thing is your predictions are usually wrong, so we're good. Yeah. Hey, screw you, my friend. And then we have Mike Bennett says the dot plot switch 2025. Expected cuts to 2 to 4. That scared the markets. Yeah, 100%. Duda is here. Guys, what do you think? Bullish enough? No, I don't think anyone's bullish enough, dude. I still think we're going to hit numbers not seen since last cycle. Chota is here. Shout out to Chota. And then no. Shout out to No and Chota. Zish Tech is here. Hey, brothers, to another. American Cryptos doing really well. Mike Bennett says, we cannot allow anyone to own over 50% hash ever. I agree, dude. That's dangerous. And, you know, just because, and that's the thing too, is like they don't need to own 50% of the hash. They can own 30% in every single public miner, and that would be just as scary. Because they're on the board. If you own 30% of a company, you're on the board for sure. Mike Bennett is here. Batsui is here. Shout out to Batsui. We got Pelpa. Says Giddity Goo. Zish. I can't even get to all your stuff here. I'll take a look at that a little later. Got a lot going on there. Whiff took it off their website. Crypto Blitzo is here. Mats is here. EF is here. Steamy J is here. Augustine Gray. Shout out to Augustine. Matt says thoughts on Ducat protocol. I'm using the testnet as we speak. Could be big. Yes, I have used their testnet. I like it. They are basically just like the other ones, except they're on layer 1. They're very similar to how Yala is and how BitSmiley is and stuff like that, where you have to lock up your Bitcoin and then you get the Ducat stablecoin. But yeah, I've been checking that out as well. Keeping an eye on those guys. Nighthawk again. Fud Khan. Shout out to Fud Khan here. Oh, that's our guy, man. Superfan is in the building. Shout out to Superfan. It's been a long time, my friend. Long time. Appreciate everything you do for the space. I Walk Alone is here. Joshua Robert Hathaway's in the building. Kenta is here. Let's see. They got here's a new one. We got Ready on LY. Shout out to you, my friends. Arch Thursdays. Yeah, let's go. Shout out to every one of you guys that are here for Arch Thursdays. Remember, put in your Twitter handle as well. So we got a lot of Arch Thursdays coming in quick. Let's see who can make roll call. Badger, you are the final guy in the roll call. Appreciate every single one of you guys. What is Rooney Terminal? Yeah, I think it's BTC Terminal now, but Rooney is the rune. But shout out to every single one of you guys who make roll call each and every single day. We got 278 people in here right now. Appreciate every single one of you guys, man.
Yep. And remember, if you're listening in and you missed it, just put Arch Thursdays and your Twitter tag in the chat, and you will qualify for a chance to win 333 Runes Pups tokens that Arch is giving away for that segment. But yeah.
Yep. We do have 10 minutes here, so we'll kind of get into the topic. Is Bitcoin OpCat dead on arrival? Eric Wall had a tweet. I'm going to get into this really quick before we give our point of view. I'll actually show it real quick. So Eric Wall had this massive tweet, and it's absolutely massive. He answers questions to everybody, but I'm just going to give the gist of it here. He says, we have one last shot at inserting new functionality in the Bitcoin before all of us, every last soul, become remnants of an early Bitcoin fan club. There's that no one cares about anymore. If we do not take this shot, this is where the story ends. Bitcoin as digital gold, as P2P money, in the best case, funneled around the web through hosted centralized services providers with no privacy, too tricky to self-custodian for normies. Replacing gold is cute. We need Lightning without channels. We need vaults for safe custody. We need second layers of privacy. That is the difference between Bitcoin gunning for a $17 trillion target as digital gold and gunning for a $170 trillion target to start with as universal hard money. The decision is yours. We need to oil the soft forking machinery before it becomes completely stale and stuck in its tracks. We have momentum now. We have near universal developer consensus and covenants as the next soft fork. We just need to agree on the last specifics. Bitcoin is the most important asset in crypto and the most important project you've dedicated yourself into your life. This time is to act now. One last ride. Now for ruin, now for wrath, and now for red dawn. What do you take from this? This huge tweet by Eric Wall, just a couple days ago. Is Opcat dead? I mean, he's kind of pushing here, saying this is our last hope.
Yeah, so it seems like, the core developers and the people that are going to be voting on this are not as enthused about OpCat as they possibly are about OpCTV, right? So they're looking for something that can satisfy less risk, but at the same time add additional functionality and compute to Bitcoin. And so I think that that's making the Cat VM guys not happy because for what they want to do in the period of time they want to do it, I think that they have realized that they need OpCat because OpCat gives more flexibility and stuff to create more customized smart contract capability.
Yeah.
So
I'm in the camp now. I know I was in this camp in the very beginning with, and then I kind of went over to the camp of OpCat because of Bob Bodley. But I don't think we need OpCat. I don't think we need OpCTV. I don't think we really need anything because of things like Arch, because of things like Bitcoin OS, doing stuff kind of off chain and then kind of rolling it up into one transaction. I think this style works. And I guess I just kind of, just know what's going to happen, right? Because BlackRock, they're too invested. Michael Saylor's too invested. They're not going to make any change to the core code, zero change, unless it's something to do with quantum computing. That's the only change that I can see them making in the next 50 to 100 years. They have too much say now. They have too much Bitcoin. They just have too much money invested for something to go wrong. And for them, they can be told a million times nothing's going to go wrong. But that's still, not good enough for people like that. There's too much money invested. They don't want Bitcoin to change. They like Bitcoin exactly to the way it is right now. That is why they're investing in it right now and not in the future. Saylor, he just has too much Bitcoin. I just can't see this happening. Can't say it.
Well, I'm gonna play. This is
Yeah.
what I think actually as well. Saylor is more open-minded than probably people think. He's created his own meta protocol, so I think he's looking for opportunities within the Bitcoin ecosystem to be able to capitalize, right? So that's my first point. The second one is I get what you're saying about people like BlackRock and these fund managers. They have so much capital, it's crazy, and they can influence, I'm sure, the core devs in some way. I don't know. However, the core devs have been influenced before, right? But in terms of changes, right? There's been consistent changes to Bitcoin. It's just been it's taken like years, right? Like you look at the Taproot and SegWit upgrades. That was not necessarily like everybody was on board with that in the beginning. There was more than block wars, obviously, right? But and it got upgraded. So I wouldn't be shocked. I actually think that like CTV probably will get added. But because it adds stuff that like I think even like these corporations that are looking for opportunity without like the security risk, right? So obviously like the pre-signature is the big deal, right? Because CTV focuses on covenants more, like assigning addresses or giving kind of authority to an entity or platform. And that's something that you mentioned that could help a platform like Fluid or like the lending platforms and stuff like that, right? Also, it can help with congestion, like on layer one without any roll up type of activity, but it's like a future commitment, right? So it's utilizing like letting the mempool know that, hey, these are already good to go, so something like that. If you're going to try to scale, I think it's going to help the roll ups that are already doing that off chain, but then send that in to just get finalized on Bitcoin as the transaction existed, right? So I think there's just a lot more upside to OpCTV versus OpCat for the overall like Bitcoin core developer and other people that are worried about security versus OpCat that is more about innovation and quick kind of whipping something up that will be probably utilized. I think the stuff that OpCat will build in a short period of time will be more utilized and onboard more people, but OpCTV will be more of like helping builders that are here now, and then the onboarding process might not happen as fast, but it will still help with onboarding, just not as quick and impactful as OpCat.
Yeah, I hear you with that. Like, I definitely, but like when BlackRock buys Bitcoin, when Michael Saylor buys Bitcoin, they buy it and they keep saying this term digital gold, right? That they're not in Bitcoin for, to me anyway, for Bitcoin's chain. They want the coin itself, because it goes up in value.
Saylor's talked about data services with Bitcoin and utilizing it as a cloud server and a secure.
You can already do that though, without OpCat, without OpCTV. Like, you know what I mean?
I know, but I think that shows that his mind is in the thinking process of like, how can we capitalize further with Bitcoin? You know what I mean? How can we capitalize further with it? I'm not saying
the risk versus reward just isn't there for him. The reward, only because like we now have things coming online like Arch, like Bitcoin OS, right? Like where it's offline compute, but everything kind of finishes up on Bitcoin. I just can't see the risk versus reward for them just isn't there. These guys aren't like digging into the code. They don't understand Bitcoin. They just know it as digital gold. They're not going to do enough due diligence, and they don't want to do enough due diligence because they're kind of happy where it is. Otherwise, they wouldn't be buying it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. That like their risk versus reward, they've invested a ton, especially BlackRock with their high end clients or whatever their client base looks like, right? But I think that like I don't think there's much downside to OpCTV being added, and I think that they will get, they'll just need to see a lot of evidence and hire special people on their side to kind of give them feedback and say, yeah, I mean, this checks out in every way, because like the whole point of OpCat getting removed was the DoD's, you're right, like those attack vectors, right?
Yeah.
But that has been pretty much resolved. But in terms of OpCTV, it's even like OpCTV actually does add compute, but it has to be like a specified type of smart contract versus like OpCat has more flexibility to getting like to a Turing complete type of approach with compute and smart contract, so you can customize those more. So I think that's what the sales pitch would be. It would be like, hey, look, like OpCTV is only going to make everything better with minimal, like if any risk, right? OpCat has tiny risk maybe, but like, it's more flexible. So I get what you're saying, but I just think that I don't think they're not going to make the final decision yet, but in the next 12 months, if it doesn't happen, I think they'll get more and more involved with it.
Yeah, but we're being told that there's little risk from, OpCat, people that would, benefit from OpCat, right? We're being told there's little to no risk from people that are in the thing.
Bob Audley.
Bob Audley, he benefits from OpCat because he has a potentially a layer
but
two.
He's pushing way more for OpCTV, I think.
Yeah, I agree, but I just don't think there's going to be any. There's just too much to risk at this point. Like, why? Like we had the Bitcoin OS on, right? And he basically said, why give Bitcoin surgery? Why do it? There's no reason.
Well,
even
that's also
that's
also to make his protocol benefit too, though.
But that's the thing, though, right? If his protocol works, if Boss works, if Arch works, if ICP becomes layer 2, if Cardano becomes this version of layer 2, why do we need these upgrades that potentially could harm Bitcoin in a way that we maybe not developed yet?
Yeah, so I think for that question, I would say congestion on Bitcoin, right? So OpCTV solves that. Right. So let's say that like Arch is working well with Bitcoin, and they've said like our side is going to be fast. Like all your balances will be updated in your wallets and stuff, like the wallets that agree to index and display it. But we can't speed Bitcoin up, or we can't, and so 10-minute blocks is still going to be 10-minute blocks. But if you're able to, not get behind so far,
Yeah.
and communicate to Arch, hey, look, this block is good. You're good. You can, finalize their balance or whatever. Then I think that's going to be a huge upgrade for congestion in the future, because if Bitcoin becomes used as much as people are saying they want it to be used, the chain itself, then you're going to need something like that, or you're going to have to change block size, or one of the two things, or
That's
to
never
make
gonna
it fat.
happen. But
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So this is actually like a solution for that. You know what I mean? So you don't have to change that. But I don't know. This is going to be a good question, I think, for
yeah,
when Matt and them get on here in a
for
second.
sure. Yeah, because they will benefit from OpCat, and at the same time they will benefit from not having OpCat, right? So it's kind of, I'm curious of what they think, but I'm gonna give OpCat a 0% chance of getting past the next 12 months. What percentage would you give?
Next 12 months, probably probably 5%. And the reason why is because we've had conversations with people that,
Yeah,
talk to a lot of the developer community and stuff like that. And it just seems that they're more favorable towards CTV, right? So I'm happy if CTV gets added, though, because then you're talking about doing pre-signatures, and so something like an ordering book wouldn't be a pain in the ass, right? To where
yeah,
you have to look to sign it again and all those things.
yeah. I'm curious what you guys think in the chat. Next 12 months, OpCat or CTV being added to the Bitcoin Core. Put a percentage in chat. I'm choosing 0. What would you say your number was?
I said
12 months?
5%.
5%. Okay, so we're both pretty low on that. So let's curious what you guys think. Remember, put Arch in the chat with your was it Arch Thursdays in the chat
Yep.
with your Twitter handle, so we can reach out to you guys, put it all. And we do see a lot of you guys have already entered the contest already. So shout out to every single one of you guys. My man Big Rod is here. Shout out to Big Rod, man. I see you in there. So shout out to every single Caleb's here. So many more of you guys. Kai Effect is here now. Mice Elf. Any questions here? Did you see before we? Here we go. What's your analysis on Dog Go to the Moon regarding ATM? What does he mean by that? Retarding?
Regarding at the moment, I don't know. Well, it's funny you say that, because there's a lot of FUD going around about like why Dog Go to the Moon is suppressed in terms of price action.
Yeah,
A lot of people are saying, these decentralized exchanges that have added it, like something like Gate.io or LBank and MEXC and all these people,
yeah,
they're putting in separate wallets, and also putting a huge brick. Like there's a $260,000 brick
yeah,
on, and like no retail user is gonna buy through that, right? And the way that Magic Eden works for their swap, it doesn't pull from a traditional way of listing. It pulls from the buy and sell orders that you use through their ordering book. So they got to fix that. Anyways, I still think, like, once the time is right, that those people will kind of release those bricks, but in the long term, like, we need Arch like yesterday.
yeah. 100%. I agree. And we did have Hex pop in, but then he kind of popped down. But I did have some questions here. We're gonna get to them a little later, but we can probably get into some of these. So there's Hex again. Should we bring Hex up while we wait for Matt?
No, we can bring Hex up and talk to him a little bit about, because I think these are great topics to talk to him about as well.
All right. Let me just get rid of this comment here. Boop, boop. Yo, what's up, Hex? How you doing, brother?
Yo, I'm good. How are you?
Doing
So,
well.
man, good.
I like the PFP.
Yeah, it's Christmas, right?
Yep. So how have you been, man? Obviously a ton of testing, right? Do you guys feel like you guys are getting closer and closer to a mainnet possibility, or you feel like you still need a decent amount of time?
We're definitely getting closer. I mean, every day is the closest we've been yet. The platform's in a really nice way at the moment. So there's a small niggling issue, which is like a combination of both teams that we have to work through at the moment. But we're also preparing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. There's a couple of features that we have to roll out as well, but yeah, things are getting close. It's been really interesting over the last week. Like, there's definitely been a bit of like ecosystem frustration towards the current state of runes, and yeah, obviously a lot of people are we want, I mean, me as a user, as much as anyone else, wants this product out as soon as possible. So yeah, it's definitely feeling the pressure a bit and definitely working it as fast as we can.
Yeah, I agree. One thing Casey hates about, who actually didn't want to put, anything in the runes is for MEV. How are you guys going to handle maybe some MEV sandwiching and stuff like that potentially on Arch?
So it's impossible to have any MEV on Saturn as a result of the SIG hash all transactions that we have. So there's no front running by nature, and then obviously
Mm.
because all of our pools are completely open and transparent, we can't do anything like dark pools and sandwich attack people's orders anyway. So yeah, MEV resistant entirely.
Oh, wow. That's great to
Yeah.
know.
So I think Shizzy brought that up because there's this kind of discussion with some of the cypherpunks, maybe just one. I just don't want to call him out by name, but he's saying that Casey's has an irrational fear of MEV. So could MEV be like an actual positive for like a fast trading environment like this for the entire ecosystem, or do you just look at it as a negative overall in any case?
These are incredibly abstract and almost philosophical discussions, and people's stance on MEV. I know, like Carl Somani, for example, is almost like the chain is only valued by the amount of MEV that you can get from it. Ultimately, I think that MEV is damaging to the user, so I want to mitigate that as much as possible. I think MEV is always going to play a part in an ecosystem like this in some way or another, but within the Saturn product itself, it's definitely not something that we're protecting or allowing to happen as much as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually agree with that. Especially people that have used the Bitcoin ecosystem and maybe didn't like it at all because the user experience wasn't great. And then they go back to their fast-paced chain and they just can't get an edge. And so, something like Saturn that brings the fast pace, but MEV prevention, I think could be really, really great. And to your point about, the frustration of the space and these bricking and like Shizzy and I both think that like Dog Go to the Moon should have been past the $1 billion market cap a long time ago, but for some reason it's getting stuck at like 980, and that's why I say like Arch Network and Saturn, like we need those solutions like a week ago, right? And I know you guys are working hard and stuff to get those to the public as fast as possible. We recognize it.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a glaring issue for anyone with enough money, and obviously there's some big fish that we play around with. It's very easy to do things like suppress the price of Dog, move the price down, scoop up the lows, remove your bricked order, move it back up, and profit and repeat. I don't really care about what price the market cap goes to, and as long as these mechanisms exist, I think that those kind of games are always going to be played. So yeah, I mean, again, you saw it with the free launch yesterday. A lot of people were trading on Bitcoin for the first time, which is always hilarious to see. People are like, "How how does any of this work? How's it been this way for the last year?" And yeah, there is obviously a massive glaring need for these kind of products. So yeah, glad to be working on them.
Yeah. And real quick though, you did mention it, so I kind of want to hit on it a little bit. Yesterday we did have a free mint from somebody. So is this a part of the Saturn team, or is this just a community member who did this airdrop? But you can't. It's what is it? You can't stop freedom. If and something about if you did anything on Saturn in the last 2 weeks that you were eligible for this, correct?
Yeah, so the team are old Saturn users. They came up and they've kind of always had this thesis on Bitcoin that obviously meme coins do have a place here. So independent of Saturn, we don't have any operational weight there whatsoever. But that said, yeah, they've kind of come up. They started off just being a user, seeing what we did obviously with the Arch release as well. I think their kind of eyes really widened at the opportunity, and I think they want to position themselves as one of the more forward-thinking tokens on Bitcoin. So they were like, how can we set up the deepest LP here? How can we make sure that people that believe in this product are getting rewarded? So yeah, they did a massive airdrop, not only to Saturn users, all Runestone holders got it. A number of other communities as well that agreed to partnerships beforehand. So it was a really widely distributed token. And yeah, I think they've committed around 10% of their supply to an LP on Saturn. So that's really cool. But yeah, I think there's a bright future there.
That's awesome.
Yep. I love all the development news and updates here. I want to obviously, welcome Matt up to the stage. He's one of the founders of Arch Network, the CEO, in fact. Matt, so how have things been going with Arch Network? How is the marketing going? How is the builder ecosystem going? If you could update us.
Things are going great. I think that the work that we're doing with Saturn is really it's setting the tone for everything else that's about to transpire with the evolution of the ecosystem, because there's a lot of bugs that need to be fixed both on our side and on the infrastructure side as well, with the indexers and the RPC infrastructure that we have available to the developers. So this feedback that we get from the Saturn team not only helps them iterate on their product and get to market faster, but it helps us iterate on ours and make more efficiencies. So that is going to be a benefit to all the other developers that are a little bit slower to deploy, which isn't necessarily a dig on them. It's more a kudos to the Saturn team, because they've really gone deep, making sure that they were the first ones to launch on Arch. Marcos, the lead dev at Saturn, has spent a lot of time with Amin, even went to Morocco to work hand in hand with him in person a couple times. So that's that type of work is really what's going to allow them to be successful, very, very soon. And then everybody else is also going to be able to gain from the feedback loop that we were able to expedite through that process. Because in another, world where Saturn wasn't quite as convinced or wasn't quite as actively involved in getting this to market, this might have taken 5-6 months longer. And we all, we've said a couple times how much we want this AMM to be, live on mainnet, so it could drastically improve the user experience of fungibles on Bitcoin and the liquidity profiles of runes, so that it can help pump our bags and, help kind of bring this idea of DeFi on Bitcoin to, finally a realized fruition. So, I think that there's flowers to be given to the Flattern team here for going deep on that, but also it's really exciting to see some of these other projects pick up the pieces and run with them. I think we have someone coming on the next show, not next week, but the week after, right?
Yeah.
There's a flash loans type of product that integrates directly with Saturn, because you need the ability to do these price-based liquidations and integrated pools. So it was a prerequisite to have Saturn perfectly working before we can, even move further with them, with the other Flash Loans team. But this is just kind of an exciting dynamic that's going to keep continuing to transpire. And the Arch Network is, Flash Loans, Flash Bots, different things that kind of, draw like bridges between the different pieces of the ecosystem and lean on one another and flywheel the activity. I think that's what we really want to see.
Yeah, definitely. One of I call it kind of a builder's race right now that's not being talked about. And I think you have to be a little bit into the ecosystem a little bit deeper to really realize it. But what you guys are building, kind of like your own VM, right? And you see other people doing that as well. Do you think like this is going to be like a race to the best VM type of network, and then we'll see something similar to what happened on Ethereum, where those like all these L2s kind of just forked from each other and stuff like that? Do you see that like Arch maybe being that prime example, and then there's like other people that create this ecosystem similar to yours, or do you think they're all going to be unique standalone kind of solutions?
Well, I certainly hope that we don't have, the amount of fragmentation that the latter example probably implies. For a fully mature DeFi ecosystem to exist, you need all this composability and interoperability so that you can create more network effects. And the only reason why the L2s proliferated on Ethereum was because the base layer got so bottlenecked that gas fees were so expensive and it got so slow. So that's why it became necessary to have a more performant chain that still relied on the validator network of Ethereum. It's not like these L2s have unique validator sets. So you still have Ethereum validators that are securing the whole thing, and the Ethereum smart contract language and the EVM that's driving the whole thing. So in a way, you can think of that as, the Arch network being that first, opportunity for developers to harness the programmability that's available to them natively on Bitcoin. And then as things start to scale and as things kind of get more bottlenecked by the base layer, then we'll start to look at, okay, what are we going to do in terms of scalability? Are we going to have some of these other L2s integrate with us? Are we going to do more L2 native things on Arch where you're continuing to just engage with the Arch network in a much more fast way, since we are a very fast performant VM that we've built? But that remains to be seen. I think that though, there's not so many people building custom VMs as there are just these crowbar implementations of either other existing VMs, like whether it's ICP or NEAR or EVM or even WASM. Right, these are all like crowbarred implementations together. Stacks, I think, is the only other example that's built their own VM specifically for this. So you get some interesting dynamics and efficiencies out of building something specifically for Bitcoin, as opposed to trying to bring something that was built for something else and using that for Bitcoin programmability.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it, love it. But is that why you guys used Rust? Because you feel like Rust is kind of easy to learn. So if you guys do become, because I agree with you, I think there needs to be like there will be, in my opinion, one VM that kind of wins that standard. And then eventually, whenever like things get bottlenecked, like you said, either, L2s will kind of work off of you guys and stuff. But like using Rust, obviously Solana uses Rust. It's a popular programming language. So could you talk a little bit about why you guys use that? And do you look to possibly be able to bridge to Solana back and forth with a trust minimized bridge? Is that possible?
So Rust is a very popular language amongst like very good devs, I would say. I wouldn't say that it's the easiest coding language to learn by any means. And by the way, I'm not a developer or coder. I'm just reiterating what I've heard from the experiences of other devs. But yes, like when Solana first came to be in 2020, the developers certainly took that opportunity of C-level parallelization and that what that meant for efficiency and throughput, and ran with it. There was definitely not a like a comfortability with Rust at that point. You need to build native Rust smart contracts on Solana, and this wasn't necessarily like a very widely known thing or adopted thing. Solidity was the most adopted thing at that point. And then of course, as Solana started to develop open source frameworks like Anchor, it became a little easier to develop Rust-based smart contracts by abstracting a lot of the complexities away. But from a developer standpoint, you get a lot more expressivity and control over your applications when you use a programming language like Rust, and that's why it's ultimately advantageous to use it.
Nice. Hex, you're obviously from a little bit more of the developer team side. Could you speak on could you see there being Solana wallets that could support platforms on Arch because of the same languages? Obviously, smart contracts and stuff are going to be different, but could you see there being like a synergy between the two solutions?
I mean, definitely. I think even on the base layer as it is at the moment, even without Arch, I think there's insane opportunities for wallets to be innovating. I remember even before Arch, there's like some theoretical stuff you can do around kind of non-smart contract based agreements between trusted networks of wallets that could involve for some kind of contract like behavior between two wallets. So if, I don't know, Xverse wanted to decide to do it, you could have kind of smart contract like behavior between two different Xverse wallets. And these were like really interesting solves that you could have on the base layer of Bitcoin beforehand. Obviously with Arch, that opens up tremendously. I think even with that, you've got to think about what user interface is going to complement Arch the best. So on Saturn, we kind of handle that for users. We have our own kind of quote unquote wallet section there. So that will automatically update as things are indexed on the back end. So you'll be able to see trades settle instantly. But whereas on things like Xverse, you're going to have to wait until the next Bitcoin block for that to actually appear. So there's obviously an open door here, an opportunity for wallets to kind of innovate. But I think that speaks to a wider point on Bitcoin, a wider point point towards stablecoins as well. There's so much to be built here, and there just simply aren't many teams working here yet, because I think a lot of people have a kind of hesitancy to believe that this is possible. Obviously, I feel we're a very different way because we've built something that shows it's possible, and the Arch guys have made a lot of this possible. And I think now, once we can kind of have a proof of concept out there and people can see this working reliably, I think there's going to be a huge catalyst of innovation, not only starting on wallets, but also with stablecoin players coming in with deep liquidity pairs. I think the fire is really going to ignite. But I mean, I said this on last week's podcast as well. Like, there's a lot of foundational work that we're doing here, and yeah, I mean, we also spoke that I think about 90% of the Bitcoin ecosystem of 2025 are probably going to be completely ignorant to the difficulties of the user experience of the last year or so. So I think majority of our growth, expansion, and user base is going to be greeted with an ecosystem that looks very different to what it was last year, just as a result of some of these innovations.
Yeah.
I think that's like a calling card to all successful ecosystems that ultimately achieve scale. Is like you'll have a whole cohort of early adopters and users who have all the battle scars and scar tissue from the early days when things were not so great. Like, I don't know who of you were in the early days of Ethereum or Solana, but I remember those days, and it certainly doesn't look like what it does today. And there are users today on Solana that are beneficiaries of all that progress and all of that, you know, hard work that the cohort before them kind of put forth. And it is important for users to, for those early users to participate, because those are the ones that give the products and the infrastructure and the chains the feedback they need to iterate and move fast. And the chains that bring the best user experience, the fastest and cheapest fees, you know, those are the ones that ultimately win. And you don't just come out of the gate with that. It's a very, very collaborative and iterative process that takes a lot of time. So the teams that are able to do that the quickest are usually the ones that have ecosystems of supporters who are willing to deal with the challenges and the struggles that come with, you know, early technologies. So, you know, I think that it's really exciting for the people that are participating today, that all of the new money, all of the new users that are going to come because that new fresh user experience, it's not like they were, you know, they should be, you know, thrown shade at because they weren't here early. It's just we deserve to be rewarded even double or triple or quadruple because we dealt with those pains, and that those new users are going to be the ones that pay for it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I have a quick question. So we kind of talked about, you know, Solana wallets to begin with. Adding something like Phantom Wallet to Arch would be absolutely insane. Not only because it's an amazing wallet, but in a sense of what they've done for Sui. When they, you know, now it's like the #1 wallet for Sui. Maybe partnering with a wallet like Phantom to kind of, I mean, the onboarding would be absolutely insane. They've already added Sui. They added Bitcoin. Do you think they would add Arch?
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a whole role dedicated at Arch specifically for these other cross-chain partnerships, like whether or not it's like, you know, Chainlink, Oracles, or anything like that, because we know there's a whole wave of applications that want to connect to the Bitcoin blockchain that can't. And Arch can be that connector. We can be that bridge to other chains to a protocol like Athena, who wants to have direct on-ramp to Bitcoin users, where Bitcoin users now no longer have to, you know, necessarily compromise on, you know, smaller or more risky protocols. They can go straight to the biggest one without necessarily having to wrap their Bitcoin, which introduces a whole nother, you know, series of questions about tax events and things of that nature. So if there's a way that they can actually natively get access to these other protocols without having to leave Bitcoin necessarily, that's really powerful. So drawing these bridges between other infrastructure providers on Ethereum and wallet providers like Phantom, who I think is proven to be one of the most phenomenal UXs in the wallet game, right? MetaMask had the lead for however many years and continue to have a good lead, but they just, you know, the user experience speaks for itself. I don't think it's nearly as good as Phantom, and I think you guys probably agree. So doing some type of partnership like that would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
Not to mention the onboarding. Imagine just going there, switching it from Phantom Solana to Arch. I mean, you don't even need to know what chain you're on at that point. You don't even know your own Bitcoin. You just know there's something on Arch that you want to buy, and it's an easy way of doing it.
That's the goal, is users interact with apps. They don't know what chain they're using, although, you know, they obviously do have their preferred wallets, and and they don't want to necessarily bridge to a whole nother ecosystem or universe. But if they can stay in their universe and just interact with the app, click the button and sign a smart contract on Unisat, Magic Eden, Nextverse, or whatever, then they're happy.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree. It's all about UX. I know, Hex, you got to head out to another event. So, any words to the audience that anything to look out for with the upcoming weeks for Saturn?
I guess I can leave you something a little bit exciting. So, this week we aim to be really stable in terms of platform performance. So I know obviously last week we hit all-time high success rate. This week I think we're going to be doing that again. So transaction success rate is a little bit higher than it was last week, which is great. So that does finally mark the quote unquote end of the beginning. And starting from next week, we'll be rolling out some additional features. So yeah, Saturn isn't just what it is right now. We do have a lot that we're kind of sitting on, but we wanted to make sure the initial product was out there sailing somewhat smoothly before we started iterating more stuff. But yeah, hang tight, more updates coming.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
I also
Real quick
saw
too.
some guys in the debauchery chat like comparing their points that they were farming by doing swaps on Saturn, and some of them were a little discouraged because others are doing a lot more swaps, and maybe others like didn't realize that they could do a lot of swaps and get a lot of points. It's just they thought that like, oh, I just do one swap and one LP and then I check that box. But no, the ones that have actually been constantly trading have a lot more points. But the point is you don't have to get discouraged because there's still a lot of time left. There's a couple months worth of this incentive campaign, and this is just the very first inning. Like Hex said, there's going to be more features and more things to do here pretty soon. So just pay attention to the dashboard for the gamified missions on Arch and also on Saturn, so that we can kind of keep you guys up to speed. But don't get discouraged if some people have more points than you thus far. It's still very, very early.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I've been messing around every morning. It's kind of one of the things I do. I mess around on test nets, and I've been doing a few trades on Saturn, and I'm like, why am I not getting the points that these guys are posting? Because I know I see you in debauchery. I'm in there as well, and I was just like, I was about to ask you that. It's funny you brought that up, but yeah. So the more volume I do, is it volume or actually percentage of
transactions?
Transactions.
I don't know.
Well, actually, we'll leave that detail kind of open-ended
like
for people to kind of figure out for themselves. But that being said, I do also want to say that. So for your what was I? Shizzy, what did you just say about your?
Is it volume or transactions?
No, before that.
I've just been using it like pretty much every morning. Is that what you're talking about? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had a point to make, but it escaped me. But anyways, there is a max amount of points you can get in a day, and you might have to like do some trial and error just to figure out what that cap is. But the more volume, the more transactions you do, the better, the more points you'll get. Oh, here's the point that I was going to make. If you haven't seen your point show up directly after doing your thing, it's because the points aren't directly rewarded instantly. We do it on like kind of a rolling basis. We're trying to get that down to updating on the hour. But right now, I think it's on every day on a cron job. So that's why you aren't seeing the points update as soon as you do the transaction on Saturn. So you do have, if you're doing on-chain transaction on Saturn, you are getting points, even if you don't see it show up immediately.
Awesome. All right, Hex. Well, I'm gonna let you go because I know you said you had about 8 minutes, and that was probably 10 minutes ago. So we won't see you next week, but possibly the week after. And so have a great Christmas and holidays with your family.
Likewise, guys. Thank you so much. Talk soon.
All right, yeah, man. And great job, man. You're doing a great job.
Yep.
Like I said, I've been using it every morning, and I definitely noticed a lot of errors in the first couple of days. And like I was telling Yagobi this morning when I was using it today, I did 3 straight transactions, and they all went through. And that was the first time that's happened for me. Usually I'll do 1, 2, and then it'll error out. But now it's just been consistently getting green. And I love with the interface too. When it pops up, it gives you that nice comment on the bottom left hand of the screen.
Yep, exactly. So that's one of the cool things that we can do is we can soft confirm the transaction on Arch and just proceed within the app as if it does confirm on Bitcoin. That way you can keep on trading and we can chain those states together inside the block. So this is how you actually get some more fees. So, like for right now, if you were trying to buy something on Magic Eden and then go and open up an LP position, you would have to wait for the block to finish for you to get the balance to update into your wallet and then you can go, deposit into a pool. With this, you can buy the tokens directly from the swap, and then you can go into the pool and LP those tokens as if you already own them. So it's really, really cool, and I think that the speed is just going to blow people away.
Yeah. Wait, Magic Eden has LPs?
No.
Oh, you're
I'm
just
saying
if theoretically,
if they had, you would have to wait
Yeah.
for the block to clear so that the tokens you actually bought them.
Yeah, this is a perfect segue though, because like we were talking about, the possibility of OpCat not even standing a chance, and a lot of these core devs are liking OpCTV more. Obviously you guys are building with or without it. Could you talk about how it would affect you guys if OpCat or OpCTV does get approved within the next 12 months, and if you favor one or the other?
I think these more native opcodes are only beneficial to companies such as Arch, because it only allows for, bridging the gap a little bit closer to more trustless, right? If you can create a trustless vault, and then put some type of programmable wrapper on top of it, that gives developers a lot of options. When just OpCat on its own, or these other other op related codes that may give pseudo programmability type of components to developers, you're still not going to get the type of efficiency. You're still not going to get the level of flexibility that you'll see with the user experience on Saturn, right? Some of that comes with the 25 state. I mean the transaction limits that you can chain together, and we can bypass that in a lot of different ways. One, by sharding pool state, because we have a parallel execution environment. Another is by doing some interesting things with some private mempools for non-standard transactions, which is pretty cool. So we could bypass the mempool policy, certain things like that. But these are types of things that OpCat won't really be able to do on its own. You'll still need to be able to apply something on top. So it's really going to be up to the developers on how they want to harness these opcodes and Arch to put them together and build some type of application that's truly scalable, but more importantly, what has a good user experience.
Yeah.
We were talking to. Go.
I was just gonna say one thing about the OpCTV that it made me think about Arch right away is supposedly this opcode would be able to help with congestion controlled payments, right? So like the mempool, so you have more block space usage, optimized block space usage. You guys kind of do that, a part of the process.
We do that.
You roll that up, but if there was an additional optimization on layer 1, would that make that even better for you guys, or how would that look?
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure the inner workings of CTV and how that would play in regards to us chaining the states together and and making that more efficient. But I do think that it's a very interesting dilemma to tackle, how we're using this game theory of using probability of when this chain of transactions are going to settle, because the miners are paying attention to what's going to make them the most money. So that's kind of the lens that you have to look at it through. And this is just kind of goes directly into that. So it's really interesting. So like we talk about these chain states, right? And what would happen if somebody RBF'd their own transaction that's like early on in that chain? It would basically destroy the entire chain, right, of transactions. But what's really interesting is that it doesn't just get it done to RBF your own transaction. You basically have to bribe the miners to ignore all of the fees in that entire chain of transactions. So you would not only have to RBF your own transaction, you basically have to RBF the entire chain of transactions, which could be quite expensive and possibly just not even worth doing based on how much size you're trading. So some of these types of dynamics have to be thought about, but certainly stuff that we're thinking about. Also, we're thinking we're talking directly with Mempool Space. We're going to be a platinum sponsor for them, so we can do some interesting things directly with them with acceleration and some of these non-standard transactions, so that we can actually get more probabilistic block inclusion for the developers at the smart contract level, which is just more advantages that the developers will have. If you have a better chance of getting your transaction versus some other L2's transaction, it's like you're a first-class citizen in the eyes of Bitcoin.
I love that.
So to that point, so let's just say somebody tried to RBF one of the Arch transactions, you guys could potentially come in and RBF it back to normal, or is that something that's possible?
That is actually something that we're discussing with Mempool as well, to do something like at the smart contract level where we can accelerate transactions automatically, and actually make it as how do I put this, minimal
Efficient?
negative EV as possible, essentially, because there is a situation where you could lose money on that, but there's a way, depending on if the miners choose to accept it and then it doesn't get in the block or not. So it's fairly complex. I won't even get into the details because I'm probably butchering it as it is. But Amin is working on it with the Mempool guys, and it's really interesting to watch that take shape, because I don't even think other teams are thinking about this yet.
Yeah. From a logical standpoint, though, I'm just thinking if someone RBFs like an Arch transaction, then you would have to RBF your transaction and then their transaction. That's where you could lose money, right?
Yes, only if the miners choose not to
Yeah.
put it in the block or something.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So the transaction ultimately doesn't confirm. So you have to refund the user who paid the fees, and you ultimately pay those fees to the miners, regardless, to accelerate it or something.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it would be very difficult to RBF a transaction like this to cancel out a whole chain. And by the way, like RBF within the context of Arch is canceled by default, but you could always double spend your UTXO and try to screw it up that way. But that's where it would come into play, where you would have to spend a lot more than just what you want to double spend that UTXO.
Gotcha. Did you have something you want to bring up, Yago? Or?
No, I accidentally clicked that. That was my bad.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so today's topic early on the show today was basically Bitcoin's OpCat dead on arrival. Eric Wall put out a tweet over the last couple of days and basically saying this is the last push for any change. I'm in the kind of the camp where kind of what Yago from Bitcoin OS, where it's just like the risk isn't really worth the reward for something like OpCat and stuff like that. And he basically told us straight up, like it's surgery. It's still a soft fork is still surgery on Bitcoin. I'm curious of your guys' opinion on that, on maybe not doing it at all, because you guys are building without it already. Do you feel like maybe it'll happen? And if it does, can something go wrong with Bitcoin, do you think?
I honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of down the middle or on the fence on this one,
Yeah.
where, social consensus can move mountains. And it seems like there's a lot of social consensus of people that want OpCat to happen. That being said, I also think that core Bitcoin developers don't necessarily care, and they have one priority, and that's the security and safety and staying power of Bitcoin. And every single time you introduce something new, it jeopardizes that security. That's just a fact. We can talk about how safe it is, and there's no attack vectors of once we activate it into Bitcoin, but at the same time, there's risk with the activation itself, and then there's risk with anything that you're adding into the stack of Bitcoin. So I think that from the lens of a core developer, that's where their skepticism lies, because they don't necessarily care about what we care about, this DeFi on Bitcoin or more programmable Bitcoin. They care about Bitcoin just being stable, secure, and always on.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time forming an opinion with this.
Yeah.
And I saw the tweet from the developer of from SegWit, right? The SegWit upgrade. And
what did he say?
He basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, like, I thought that SegWit was the most elegant upgrade that could have been imagined. And of course, I'm biased. I'm the developer of it. But as also a core Bitcoin maxi, I don't care if it gets soft forked in. If someone makes something better and that gets soft forked in, that's better for Bitcoin. If mine doesn't get soft forked into Bitcoin, that's also okay, because at the end of the day, the number one priority is safety and security of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I think that was like a very, very good perspective, because we can get kind of like, we could lose the plot a little bit when we're all getting kind of wrapped up in runes and getting wrapped up in Bitcoin programmability, because we've been focused on it and tunnel visioned on it for over a year and a half now. But we cannot lose the sight of, like, we need it to be safe. We need it to be secure. And there's a lot of, things that go into this type of stuff. Like you said, it's surgery, and we don't want to, we don't want Bitcoin to die on the operating table.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like, we were in the boat early because, even though we both first came into Bitcoin with our exposure, but we went to the DeFi world, and so we wanted that as quick as possible. But then, like, as we experienced and learned about Bitcoin, like really learned about it, our opinions slowly changed away from that, right? Especially with solutions like yours. But yeah, look, I think Arch is going to be awesome, and you know, even if Opcat gets added, I think the biggest worry is that you know, at that point you can start to experiment with like other opcodes integrating with Opcat, and then I think that's what they're worried about, right? Getting to like this Turing complete customized smart contract world, but they're still utilizing Bitcoin script, right? And that's not something that's being expanded upon very heavily. So I think that's where Arch would still have the edge, is because you're using Rust, which gives you so much more composability and like control over it, that like even if Opcat gets added, they're not even looking to really do anything on layer one with the cat VM. It's, you know, they're trying to create their virtual machine, right? So in a sense, it would only enhance what you guys could do in terms of like minimum trust, minimalized bridging and stuff like that, right? So that's my perspective on it.
100%. No, I think that that's a good way of looking at it. I think that it you know, Opcat may be more competitive to the whole BitVM dynamic, right? Where now we don't really need the trust minimized bridge, because now we have trustless bridge, and now we can connect all of these other layer twos on Bitcoin together, and maybe that they tie into the state of Arch, because we're the sort of the layer one programmability layer for Bitcoin. So maybe that's how it all plays out. But who knows? I certainly don't want to say that, you know, Opcat is not needed because Arch is here. You know, I think that they're complementary to one another. But again, you know, security over everything.
100%.
100%. I want to dig into the Arch testnet real quick. So obviously we have Saturn. We talked about that a lot. Could you talk about the other ones that are on testnet and maybe entering testnet in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we'll have a prediction market, as you know, who's coming on the show in a couple weeks as well. So that's pretty exciting to see an on-chain prediction market like Polymarket, where now you don't necessarily have to bridge your Bitcoin to participate. You can just you can ape into whatever prediction pool you want with your Bitcoin and get paid out in Bitcoin. So that's pretty cool. You know, Wasabi is going to be another pretty critical piece of infrastructure that comes online in the next month and a half. They're just finishing up their launch on Solana right now. They were very successful on Blast, then went to Solana, and then now they're coming to Bitcoin. What Wasabi does, in addition to just borrow and lending pools against fungibles, is they have these sort of on-chain perps. These are not synthetic perps. They are perps that are connected to like a Saturn pool along with the loan pools, and that they create these abilities to do short positions on runes, essentially, is what's going to happen. So if you are a huge bag holder and you want to take a hedge position, you can short your position and get a hedge. But this has implications in the actual AMM and the order book. So it's not this like synthetic paper trading. It's actually going to create more transaction volume directly on Bitcoin. So it's really interesting. In addition to that, you have like a simulated horse racing game, like Bitcoin Derby, which is pretty cool. They were an accepted, like a incubee of the Draper Associate Bitcoin Accelerator. So they're building on Arch, and that's a really exciting thing. So it's, you know, racing, DeFi, degen type of thing, where you can own your horse, you can own a racetrack, you can bet on races. It's really cool. So stuff like this is interesting. Yeah. The whole virtuals phenomenon is obviously one of the hottest trends right now, right? The AI agents. So we want to bring that to Bitcoin in a big way. So in addition to just having agents that are sentient of Bitcoin and more focused on Bitcoin DeFi, we'll also be leveraging the relationship with FunkyBit to connect those virtuals to the main marketplace on the virtuals marketplace on Base, because as you know, FunkyBit is our connection between Bitcoin and Base. So now you actually don't have to fragment the liquidity for those virtuals. You can create a Bitcoin native marketplace that integrates with the liquidity on Base, which is where all the liquidity is for those virtuals. So really, really exciting stuff. As you can see, I'm like, my face is lighting up.
I'm excited, man. I just think that these solutions are what we need, right? There's some stuff that's been released from some of these other virtual machine type of networks, and I feel like it doesn't look, kudos to them. They've released it and stuff. I've used it, and I just feel like it's still we're not at that point to where it's seamless, and the UX matters the most right now. So if Arch can provide that with Saturn on the mainnet, to where it feels seamless and they feel like swap, like a regular DEX, that's going to be big. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, me too, man. Can't wait. I've been building up my runes bags, and it's been kind of painful looking at the charts the last week and a half, but I just keep relishing the opportunity to buy more, because I know there's going to be opportunity to make fat yield doing LP strategies and loaning them out and stuff like that. It's gonna be a fun time to be a runes whale in 2025.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shizzy, could you send me that link when you get a chance for the wheel? I'm gonna start setting that up.
I got you. No problem. Real quick. So right now, if I was someone who wanted to basically earn, using your platform, using Arch and using other ones, right now it's going to be obviously Saturn. Do some daily trades on that, and you're kind of incentivizing on the Arch side and the Saturn side, correct? And then there's Funky Bit as well. Is there anything else that as a user I can play with today and kind of start potentially getting incentivized to do so?
I think the prediction market should be the next one launched next week. I think that they have some pools open currently, but I need to double check on if it's completely ready to go, to the users. So that would be the next one. We also have like an Aave style product. I don't know if you know Ferks from the Ordbit team.
No.
Those guys have been hard at work, getting the India Blockchain Week hackathon teams together and making a really cool product in a very short amount of time. But it's called Cha-Ching. We're going to bring them on Ord Revolution in a couple weeks as well to talk about it. But that's traditional Aave style platform where it's pool based lending for runes. Really cool product that again, it's going to be a necessary piece of architecture if we want to do flash loans. So we can connect Saturn's DEX with the Aave pools to do the flash loans. So it can be really cool.
Dude, we need that so bad, because like I'm a type of person, like I love DeFi, and holding tokens and that I cannot earn yield on, it kills me. It kills me to hold Gizmo, the whole dog, and I can't really earn good yield on it without in a decentralized way. Adding something like Aave would be massive for Arch.
Yeah,
that'd be insane.
Huge. All right. I think we're winding down here, Matt. So if you're cool and you have a little bit more time to hang with us, we'd love to start the giveaway if you're cool with that.
Yeah, let's do it. This one's for Pups, by the way. Another app that's coming, Pups Fun. I'm not going to share too much details about this, but it's going to be a community degen project. It's completely owned by the community, and it's going to make the token deflationary. A little bit of alpha. So bullish on Pups, and we're doing 1,000 Pups giveaway for some lucky viewers in the audience.
Yes. And we just want to thank you for doing that, and thank you for opening up your protocol and your ecosystem. You guys have been amazing with that, man. This is what we need. We need to get this information out about all your builders, what you guys are doing to the public, the ones that are paying attention, because they've earned it by paying attention. So thank you so much for doing that. But we're going to start this giveaway. There's going to be 3 lucky winners that get 333 Pups Runes tokens. Let's go. Good luck, everybody.
We'll round it up to 350 each.
Okay.
Nice.
Generous man. I like him. All right, here we go. Good luck to you guys.
It looks like it's gonna be FadCon. Congratulations, Fad.
FadCon. Yep. Could you message me the winners?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, just message me the winner. So FadCon is the first winner there. I'm gonna remove you, sir. All right. Good luck for the second spin here for 350 Runes Pups tokens.
Another interesting little tidbit, so that goes with this is let's see who wins, and then we can explain. Mike.
Yep.
Mike.
Congratulations, Mike.
So we built a smart contract that's basically like a mystery box smart contract. So basically, like the creator of the mystery box can deposit however many UTXOs into a pool. It could be runes, ordinals, or Bitcoin, and you decide how many. Like just like here, you have like a dozen or so people in the list. You indicate which wallets get a ticket, and everybody gets a ticket, and the ticket gives you a randomized chance of like giving whatever's in the pool. So it can be the whatever that person put in there. So we're gonna make like a mystery box game and do some giveaways just like this, where people can open the box, and we'll airdrop tickets to people that
Oh, dude, I
participate in the
love
test net.
that. I
Yeah, yeah.
love
So we're
that.
going to be giving away not just points and ore for farming for the airdrop, but also it's going to be the stuff that you actually want: the pups, the dog, the billy, that kind of cool stuff. So we're
Awesome.
excited for that too.
Awesome. All right, guys. Last spin here. So good luck to the last winner.
Who's it gonna be?
Oh,
Redwan.
Yeah, Redwan. Yep, Redwan. So congratulations to all three winners. FadCon, I think Mike Bennett and Redwan. You guys are getting 350 pups runes tokens each. So make sure that you guys answer your DM because we're gonna be reaching out to you to collect your Bitcoin Taproot address. But man, Matt, it's been amazing. Thank you again for the giveaway. As always, you've been great. Arch Thursdays, I think, is going to be a very educational segment, until you guys go mainnet, in which I think people are going to be ready by then because they know how you guys are going to be working.
Let's blow it up. Let's make Ordinal Revolution the most watched show.
Let's
This is where we're going to be dropping the alpha.
100%.
Yeah, man. People are excited. We got 346 people in here right now. Thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate us. We had a different segment a while back, and we never got the big guy to come on. So it feels really good for you to come on, right? So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We did Tap Tuesday for 6 months, and Benny didn't show up one time. So we appreciate you, Matt, and everything you guys are doing for the Bitcoin ecosystem. And
hey, well, I'm a man of the people and Bitcoin, so holler at me
Let's
anytime.
go.
Devs, tap in.
Awesome, Matt. All right, we'll see
Thank
you the week after next.
Sounds good. Happy holidays, guys. Talk soon.
You too, man.
You too.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
That was amazing. Absolutely amazing episode. I enjoyed this one from the beginning to the end. It was a good one.
Yep. I agree. It was perfect. Perfect setup for the OpCat and OpCodes conversation. I think we got to see the perspective from a protocol that would, in my opinion, really benefit from something like that. But yeah, I'm excited for Arch, man. Like I feel like they're open to like their builders coming on here and their biggest products. And so they're confident. That shows confidence to me, right? Like whenever you're like, hey, go play with this, go mess with this, go test this. It's not just being kept only by developers to test. You need people to break it, man. You need people in the public to break it. And that's exactly how Saturn's testnet is working right now. It's like all the, public, basically. If you want to test it, you can test it. And I love that. So
yeah, 100%, dude. And that's the thing too, is like, we basically told them last time they were on, we're like, try to break it, because but that benefits them, right? That benefits the team when people are really stress testing the network. And I think, guys, it's stupid not to be playing with Saturn right now. It's basically free money. You've seen what happened with Uni, what is it? The first one, Uniswap, way early, right? This is basically their Uniswap. This could be really, really incentivized, especially if you hold long term. So guys, get on Saturn. The website is what is it? It's SaturnBTC.io. Get over there. Get the testnet wallet, get the faucet tokens, guys. Start messing with it. There's also Funky Bit. Start messing with that, guys. This is free money, and you could spend 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a week, whatever you decide. The more you play with it, the more you're going to earn. Get over there. Go to SaturnBTC.io. Start messing with this right now. Get it on there, guys.
Yep. I agree. Just be ready, because that's the whole purpose of us doing these like segments, is for you guys to be ready. That's the difference between our show, I think, and other shows, is that we want big ecosystems during innovative periods of like, back in 19, 18, when Ethereum's ecosystem was building out. We're in that phase right now. So you guys paying attention, all 347 of you guys are amazing. And so we just want to say thank you guys for allowing us to also do what we love to do, and that's to dig deep into the Bitcoin ecosystem. And this renaissance period of Bitcoin is our passion, right? So if you do have some extra time and can check out our partners, we would be very, very grateful. Emblem Vault in our opinion, is going to be the interoperability tool for Ordinals being able to jump over from Bitcoin Layer 1 to Merlin Chain to Base to Solana. You know, they have some big partnerships, by the way. I think we were allowed to say this because it was announced, I think, Ape Chain and Abstract. So those are huge. You know, these guys are known in the space. So this is their cycle. This is how I feel about Emblem Vault. They're also building an AI wallet for Bitcoin that's should be done, you know, latest Q1, early Q1 of next year. So be excited about that, because I think these guys are going to be building amazing things, and they have their rune as well. So once their vaults are live, we're going to go over that as well. Their keys, the way it works is an NFT up until TGE, which is exciting as well. You can learn more about these guys at emblem.vision. And then BetBTC, the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem, they utilize ICP and Bitcoin technology for you guys to be able to place bets on markets on their platform. If you have an Xverse wallet and you have Bitcoin in there, you can deposit directly. It takes 6 blocks, and then you can start placing your bets. They're soon going to have create your own markets, which I think is going to be their biggest and best feature. It's going to allow you as a user to create your own markets and have people play on them, and you can earn, I think it's 1.5%. I have to double check, but it's at least 1% of the total volume. So if you're good at it and you're creating great markets, this could be a side thing, right? So maybe the main thing, depends on how much volume you can create, right? So that's going to be huge. They're thinking maybe middle of January for that. So that's coming up for sure. And also they have a points earning program, right? They have a rune coming out, guys. So big on BetBTC. You can learn more about them at betbtc.win. And then BitPerp, we met with these guys yesterday. They had to delay a little bit. It's the Botonics faucet, guys. So once that's up, the paper trading competition will be back up, I assure you, and it should be any day. But that prize pool for that is 10,000 USDT and 50,000 BTP. So you want to participate in that. You want to get used to their platform, and they have a new version of their website coming up too in the next couple of days, which is the UX is supposed to be amazing on that. So, you know, make sure that you guys learn more about BitPerp at bitperp.io. And then Fluid tokens. These guys are just knocking it out of the park. UTXO devs, wizard devs is what I call them. They initially started on Cardano and moved their way to Bitcoin once they heard that people were building here. So they're on both platforms, and they're also building the bridge between both chains. But their biggest innovation as of today, in my opinion, for Bitcoin is the layer 1 retail staking vaults, guys. If you are a founder of an ordinal collection, or you deployed a rune or BRC20, reach out to Raul to get you guys set up with a staking vault for your holders to earn. If you can't get through to Raul, reach out to us. We'll get you hooked up. But you can learn more about them at fluidtokens.com, and you can click on the Bitcoin button there. And Merlin Chain, your #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you're a builder on Bitcoin Layer 1 and you want a little bit more flexibility for your protocol, you can build on Merlin Chain. They have amazing builder grants. A couple of our partners applied and got into them. It's not impossible. You just need to apply. It won't hurt to apply. And also for retail users, if you want to swap to something like Doggo to the Moon in a Uniswap type of environment, you can go to merlinswap.org, and you can perform those swaps to Doggo to the Moon or Bitmap token. And of course, we have our integrated partners in Foxy, which is building the metaverse on Bitcoin. It's called the Bitverse. You gotta check them out. They have their bit miners. You can also mint on mScribe, and they have their first-person shooter game called Clan Wars. Super excited about that. And then Ordinal Hive is the aggregator Ordinal marketplace for Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2. Find the cheapest Ordinals on Ordinal Hive. Thank you guys for
good job, man. Yeah, and if you guys wouldn't mind checking out ordinalrevolution.com, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and code up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, we have the #1 VPN. We have Nord VPN, 70% off, guys. It's like $2.99 a month. It is stupid not to have a VPN. If you go to these sites, they can get your IP address, which eventually can get your address. You don't want that. There's no need for that when you can pay $2.99 a month using our link right here and get yourself a Nord VPN. If you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas, make sure you guys get your tickets through us. You don't want to wait either. If you wait till next year, you're gonna be paying 10 times more than you'll be paying this year. Get them as soon as possible. It's gonna be fun. You're gonna feel very rich. I promise you, you're gonna feel very rich when this time comes in late May. So it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be crazy. Definitely get your tickets as soon as possible. And if you guys need merch for that event or any event, or just kind of lounge around the house in your hoodie or shirt or whatever. We have some of the best hoodies and best shirts. You know, so tell your wife, hey, this is what I want for Christmas. No, I'm just kidding. But you got Chancellor on the brink of second battle for banks hoodie. I personally have this one. I love it. We got a bitmap hoodie. You know, show your bitmap. Imagine walking down the street and seeing somebody in a bitmap hoodie. How cool would that be in person? Just not even knowing them, not at an event. Just like, oh crap, like that dude's you just walk up and just give him a high five.
One of us.
We are all Satoshi Nakamoto. We got, you know, Memento Mori, Puka, Gizmo, Billy Cat, you know, Goosenals. I have a 401b, Send Nodes, Node Monkeys, Toothy. We've got Toothies, guys. Come on. That's how OG we are. We got some Toothies on there. But we appreciate you guys. We are live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Really appreciate you. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
We OG, we OG. Oh no, OG. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the oh no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to overload. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock, ayy. Rooms is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal Revolution, ayy. Ordinal Revolution. Yo, it's my guy for real, bro. Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, that shit found fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, like it in the seal. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nookies on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me.